Hello. You can manifest without action. You can manifest without action. That is the title for today's video. So as you're coming in, please go ahead and like the video. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and drop them into the chat. Again, today we're talking about you can manifest without action. So the reason that we're making this video today is that a lot of times I get questions from people on, do I take action or not? Or is it important to take action or not? And a lot of times there's this belief structure that it's better not to take action. And so it's not manifesting unless it drops out of the sky, okay? Well, today I want to talk about how action's actually a choice and that you get to decide whether or not you want to do that. All right, so we're going to talk about how you make this choice in today's video. So if you want to manifest something without action, how do you go about doing that? All right, so that is the topic for today's video. And again, as you guys are coming in, let me know if you can hear me. Oh, if you already did, thank you, Cheryl Ann on Facebook. Thank you, Cambria. Raised our eye view on YouTube. Thank you so much. I do see I have got a super chat here already from Jessica. Jessica, I'll be with you in just a moment. Funny enough, it looks like that came in at 11:11. But yes, today's topic, manifesting without action. All right, so let's get going. Action's always a choice, okay? It's always a choice. And so to explain this, I want to talk about this in a way that hopefully makes sense of it. Okay, so reality is a projection of consciousness. So just like when you go to sleep and you dream, here in the waking world, it's the same thing. Everything that's going on out here is a projection of your consciousness. So just like when you go to sleep at night, you're taking action in your dream, but it's really just a projection of consciousness. Action is really an illusion. Okay, that's what it is. It's an illusion. But there's a reason that we have that illusion. And so the way that I like to think about this that I think is helpful is that you creating your reality is kind of like you creating a video game. Okay, so lots of people like to play video games. The idea is you're creating kind of a landscape built on rules, and you're going to play in that reality. So you create your reality through your consciousness, but you also get to play with it through your action. And so when we're talking about constructing reality, and we're talking about action in specific, action is its own manifestation. It's a game that we are creating to play, and we play through it with our action. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to understand is that if you look at your reality as if it's a video game, we can stop beating up on action a little bit because action's kind of the point. You get it? You built this reality so that you could play with it, so that you could take action. So that's the first thing we got to talk about is understanding that action isn't the enemy. Rather, action is a choice. You built your reality in reality to take action. But that being said, you don't always have to take action in order to create things into your reality. Okay, so that's our first point. But we are going to talk about, how do you make this choice? Okay, how do you make this choice between whether I'm going to take action to get something or it's just going to drop out of the sky? Okay, we're going to talk more on that in just a moment. But first, say hi to a few of you. Nice to see you guys today. Over on YouTube, Abundant Queen, hello. Louise, thank you. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Island Joy. Hi, Cowlitz Bill. And Cowlitz Bill said, thank you for my brand new program launch. Yes, that is today. So thank you for reminding me, Cowlitz Bill. Yes, I do have my new program. Just went live. I've been talking about it a bunch. So if you guys have not checked it out yet, I have put a link in the description. And this program is a program that I created because I've been getting lots of questions in the chat about how do we deal with career? So a lot of you guys have been writing in with me with questions having to do with not liking toxic coworkers, having problems maybe with your boss, not feeling like you have independence and freedom at work. Lots of people complaining and being upset that they're not making enough money for how much they work. And a lot of people just not feeling fulfilled with the work that they do. So the program, my latest program, is addressing all of these issues. It's called the Golden Path. And it's a course that's designed to get you in alignment with the career that you are fulfilled with and make money with. Okay, so this is going to be a way of thinking and a way of being that puts you into alignment with the career that works for you, where you can work at your own pace, make the kind of money that you want to make, enjoy what you're doing with your time. So this program right now is on sale for launch week only for 50% off. If you are interested in getting it this week, make sure to go ahead and check out the link in the description. If you're on Instagram, the link is in the link tree in my bio. And you want to use code GOLD, G-O-L-D, at checkout to get that 50% off. It will be only on sale this week, and I will not put this program on sale for at least one more year. So if you're interested, check that out. All right, that's the business. I'll make sure to come over here and get this super real quick before we move forward. Jessica writes in today. Thank you, Jessica, for the super. Jessica says, "Hi, Andrea. I've been living in fear due to heart arrhythmia issues no doctor has been able to get to the bottom of. It's taken over my life. I live in fear of new worsening episodes every day. I want my life back. Help. P.S. I love your content." All right. Thank you, Jessica. All right. Good question. So here's something I want you to think about. We never can really get to the bottom of anything. Okay? This is something that, and not just with physical issues, but sometimes I hear this with relationship issues or mental health issues. Whenever there's an issue, we want to go searching for the root. We want to go searching for the cause. What caused this to happen? Okay? Now, when we start looking for something, we start tunneling into it. And so if you start looking for possible reasons why this may have occurred, what will frequently happen is it becomes very confusing. Well, it could have been your diet. It could have been your exercise. It could have been your genetics. It could have been that, mom dropped you when you were 1 year old. There's so many different reasons that it could be because you start tunneling into that and no clear answer comes to the forefront. So you keep searching, you keep searching, you keep searching. Now, this is a problem. And energetically, okay? And the reason why is the more you go searching for the reason for the problem, the more you're focusing on the problem and you're keeping the problem active, okay? So one thing that I would recommend, I'm not going to tell you not to go to the doctor or not to take your medication. Do what you need to do to feel as confident as you can. But what I would recommend is to stop searching for the problem and instead, if you're suffering with any kind of illness or issue, search for reasons why you're healthy or search for reasons why you're getting healthier over time. Because instead of tunneling into the problem and keeping it active, you're going to start tunneling into your health and that's going to become more and more dominant. Okay? So, and again, this is not just for physical issues. Sometimes you guys are coming out of traumatic relationships and you want to understand why dad did what he did or why mom did what she did or why your boyfriend did what they did. You're never going to get to the bottom of it because the more you go searching, the more you're going to find possible reasons. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Great question. All right, again, guys, today, what happened here? There we go. Today we're talking about you can manifest without action. It's always a choice. It's always a choice, okay? The big thing that happens with people with the law of attraction is they feel like they're supposed to be manifesting without action. And so I must be doing it wrong if I'm taking action and getting a result. It should just drop out of the sky. Well, that's not true at all because you created your entire reality as kind of this playground for you to play in, for you to take action in. So taking action is part of the process. So you always have the option within your reality to take action to get a result, or simply to have it wink in, okay? Show up out of nowhere. Those are the options, but they're always options. And you're the one that gets to make the choice. It's not about which one's right or wrong. You're not a better manifester if something just came in out of nowhere or if you took action to get it. You're manifesting either way. That's not the question. The question is, which one are you going to choose? All right, so let's talk a little bit more on this. The thing you have to understand about the choice is that the choice can be made consciously, but it's also often made subconsciously. Okay, it's often a choice that's made in the back of the mind. And the reason why is that by default, you're going to operate on your belief principles. So like I mentioned before, you construct your reality. It's a projection of your consciousness, okay? That's what your reality is. It's like a video game that you created with your mind. Now, the way that you create that video game is through your beliefs. Your beliefs are what set up the structure of reality, okay? So you believe that if you drop something, it's going to fall to the floor. You believe that if I smile at someone, they're probably going to smile back. You believe that you're good at some things and therefore some things work. So you have these belief structures about things that require action and things that can just drop out of the sky. Some things it feels like it's very rigid one way or the other. Some things it feels like it could come either way. But they are rules that you have created in your own mind. So by default, okay, typically speaking, if you don't want to do any work at all, if you don't want to think your way through, okay, how things come, the way that you want to go about it is by asking yourself which one feels believable. Does it feel like this is something that I take action to get? Or does this feel like something that could just come out of the sky? If it feels like something that it takes action to get, in most cases, that's going to be the easiest path for you, okay? So hold on a second, I was going to say here. We'll get to it. So, for instance, let's give you a couple of examples here. Let's say it's a text message, all right? You want to manifest a text message from a potential suitor. That's what you want, okay? Well, a text message you probably feel is going to come out of thin air in most cases. So that's one of those things you can kind of put out there. I'd like to get a text message, and bing, it just shows up without you having to do anything, without you having to prompt the person or anything like that, because you have kind of this belief that text messages come out of nowhere. For most people, on the other side of things, if we're talking about getting fitness gains, getting in shape, most people have the belief structure that that takes effort. Okay, I'm going to have to go to the gym. I'm going to have to work out. So if that's what we believe and we don't want to change our belief structures, then working out, having inspired action on that path is going to be the more path of least resistance to get that desired result. But it's not a question of whether or not the action is required. It's a question of, do I believe action is required or not? Now, you can see this contested in some scenarios. So for instance, if you guys have heard of the placebo effect, I'm sure you've heard of it by now. With the placebo effect, somebody takes a pill to maybe cure an illness, but the pill isn't a real pill. So it's made up of sugar or something that has no active ingredients. So the person has a belief that if I take a medication, I take an action, I'm going to get a desired result. If I take a medication, I'm going to be healed. When they take that placebo pill, they believe that they're taking something that's going to get a result, and so therefore they heal, even though the placebo had no medication in it. Why? Because they believed. The belief is what cured the illness, not the pill. But the person had a belief that they needed to take action to get the result. Everything is like that. So the action is always an illusion. It's always an illusion. Now, this being said, the easy way to go is usually just to follow the path that makes the most sense. That being said, you don't have to. Sometimes you're going to find that there are things that you believe you need to take action with that you actually don't want to, and you can make a different choice. So we're going to talk about that one next. Okay. Nice to see all of you guys over here on Instagram. Banji's turning 25 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Banji. Are you an Aries? You're an Aries, aren't you? Okay, I'm turning 25 tomorrow, but I'm kind of worried as I feel like I'm so behind in my life. In my case, it's my soccer and creative career. How could you possibly be behind? I'm just getting warmed up. Okay? I'm just getting I actually love that. Banji's real young, right? For a lot of you guys, I was 25, just getting started, right? That's actually a great mantra for anybody at any age. Okay. A lot of times people have this feeling like they haven't done enough, they haven't accomplished enough, they haven't achieved enough. Tell yourself, I'm just getting warmed up, just getting started. Okay. Because it shifts your perception. Because the way that you're looking at it right now is, and it's funny because you're 25, right? But I'm past my prime. I missed the peak. But if you say something like, I'm just getting warmed up, it reminds you how much more life you've got in front of you and that there's a lot of time to accomplish a lot of things. And it puts you back in that beginning energy, which, by the way, is Aries energy. It's starting energy. I'm just getting warmed up. It's a good mantra. I would use that one a lot. For anyone who's feeling like you've missed the time, I'm just getting warmed up. I just got started. Okay. Lisa asks, hi, Andrea. I'm loving your videos from the UK. I feel like I'm going too calmly and a bit comatose and taking too little action. I heard you describe this in your last video and I wondered how to step it up. Okay, so this is along the same lines of kind of what we're talking about. You don't have to take action to get results, okay? You don't. But one of the downsides of choosing inaction too much is that this can happen, all right? So I talked about this maybe in the last video. Was it the last one? Okay, again, we're creating a video game. That's kind of what it is. And the purpose of the video game is to play. It's to go out there and to do things. Maybe to talk to people, to travel, play soccer, whatever. But the purpose is to go out there and play, all right? You can just lay back and be a receiver, okay? You can do that. What can happen, though, is if you get too comfortable with inaction, reality will start to slow down because the video game responds to your consciousness. If your consciousness says, I'm just going to sit back and relax and zen myself out and just let everything be what it is, and I'm not going to really go out there and mix things up, well, now it doesn't really matter if the video game is that busy. So the video game will slow way down. And now it's like you're kind of stuck in one of those beginner training rooms where you already did everything and now you're just kind of hanging out in there. You're kind of ready to go out and do the next level, okay? So that's something to understand. Again, if you look at your reality like a video game, that can be helpful because just like in a video game, you're going to get bored on a certain level once you've done everything. It's time to go on to the next adventure. It's time to start the new chapter. Understand that really with your reality, it's best to try and decide the speed that you want the video game to go. Do you want things to be moving at a faster clip? Well, then you need to get up and take a little bit more action. And quite honestly, it doesn't even matter what kind of action you take. Just get up off the couch and start moving around. Things will pick back up because reality is always responding to what you're putting out. Okay? Very important thing to understand. You're always creating the video game. You didn't create it last week. Well, you did, but you've continued creating it. You're always creating it in the present moment. So the speed at which you're moving right now is going to dictate how exciting the game is. So if the game is not that exciting, get up and do some stuff. That's it. It's literally all you have to do. And if it gets too crazy and too frenetic, slow back down. And reality will slow back down to match you. Hope that makes sense. All right, guys. Again, remember, today we're talking about you can manifest without action. So we talked a little bit about action is a choice. You get to choose whether or not you're taking action in your reality. Okay? You make up the rules. You're the one who made up the rules in the first place to the game. So if something feels like it requires action, it's because you decided it requires action. And if something feels like it can just drop out of the sky, well, you wrote that into the game. This is one that can just fall out of the sky. Sometimes money just shows up, okay? Now, that being said, you always have the choice. So you can rearrange reality and you can change the rules. So if there are certain things that feel like they take action, you can choose to rewrite the rules, okay? The first thing I want to talk about on this end is that sometimes you may find that it's actually advantageous for you to keep action as the method of manifestation. And I wanted to put this first because, again, a lot of times people have this belief structure that it only counts as manifestation if it came out of nowhere. And if it didn't come out of nowhere, I didn't actually manifest it and I'm not actually powerful. That's not true, okay? Sometimes it's actually to your higher advantage to keep action, okay? Sometimes it is. So when is it best to keep action? It's best to keep action if you like that part of the game, okay? If you like that kind of action, if you like the game that you're in, why would you turn it off? Okay, so for instance, I always talk about how much I love the gym. I love the gym. If I could just put the body in place without going to the gym, okay, but that's not really why we got into this. I like the going to the gym and I like that feeling that the action yielded results. Another thing is business. A lot of you guys are business owners or have talked to me about businesses that you own. I know I run my own thing. That is an action journey. I like putting that stuff together. I like making the sales. I like doing the this. I like doing the that. That is action that is useful. Okay? Banji likes playing soccer. That's a game he likes to play. If you just gave him the trophy and he didn't have to play a game, what would be the point? Okay? So if it's something like that, if it's a game you like to play, well then why would we turn off the action? The action is the point. Again, we built reality to be a game to play. So that's the first thing, okay? That one I think is kind of a no-brainer. Here's the other one. If you feel like changing the rules would make your reality too confusing or overwhelming, it might be best to keep action in place as well. You can start to bend the rules in your reality in such a way that reality starts to shift and change so dramatically that it can be overwhelming or distressing to some people, okay? To probably anyone. Again, you built a game and a framework up. If you start taking down rules that shift reality dramatically, that can start to feel like your reality isn't real, or that you're living in chaos, or that what does it matter? And some people really aren't comfortable with that. So let's say that you wanted to, let's get rid of the rules of gravity. That one's probably going to be a tough one for most people because it's going to totally change the whole world and make everything so chaotic it wouldn't even make sense to you. Okay? So something to understand. And I'm saying this because I've shifted enough things and broken some rules that sometimes it's a little unsettling. You're like, what's actually going on here? It's helpful to have some grounding. Okay, so if the rule that's in place helps keep your reality solid and you're not ready to let go of it because it feels like you kind of need it to keep everything in place, well then action is the way to go. Okay, another way I like to look at this is, you know, some people, if we talk about this on the terms of like the drug spectrum, okay, so back in the day I used to do a lot of drugs. I've talked about this, how I had addictions and such, and there's a class of drugs called psychedelics. I'm sure you guys have all heard of those before. But with psychedelics, a lot of times people don't like them or they're afraid of them. Or when they take them, they have very bad trips. And so the psychedelics are ones that deconstruct your reality. So you're out there and it's Wonderland and everything's all crazy and nothing makes any sense. Some people love that. A lot of people don't. And the reason why they don't like it is for the same reason I'm talking about here. If you deconstruct your reality so much that it doesn't make sense, a lot of people don't want to deal with that, okay? So there's no sense in starting to change things around that are going to make life confusing or stressful or weird for you, okay? That's the first point, okay? So I want to put those out there and say, if you like the game, if you like the action game, keep the action game. Or if the action game helps keep your reality in order, in a way that's comfortable for you, keep action as part of the plan. We don't need to eradicate all the traffic rules just for sport if that's going to make things really confusing. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Now, the next point we're going to talk about is if you do want to eliminate action and when it's a good time to eliminate action. Okay, we'll talk about that one next. But first, if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Facebook as well as Instagram if you haven't yet already. I do typically go live at least once or twice a week, and I love talking to you guys. So by all means, please subscribe, follow, notifications, all that good stuff so you meet up with me when I am here. Also, if you are new to my work and have not yet, please make sure to take my manifesting test. If you want to know for sure that you really are the creator of your reality, I have a very quick 5-minute test where you can prove it to yourself. Put something out and watch it come back. And to take that test, you can go to manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. The link is also in the description and in my link tree on Instagram, but manifestingtest.com is the direct link. All right. Blackout 2430 asks, what do I do? I'm 34, stuck living at home, trying to play professional basketball. I want to get out of my parents' house and be independent, and I want to do what I love to do, which is play pro. Here's what I would say. Okay, so we got two. Does it feel like I have to stay home to go pro? If you have multiple goals, okay, what I'm hearing here is multiple goals. Sometimes when we have multiple goals, it may feel like, well, this one's interfering with that one. Well, you can always have both. I always would recommend do the one first or focus in the direction of the one that you feel is most achievable. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you don't know how you're going to play. I don't know if this is the case, but you don't know how you're going to play professional basketball if you're not living at home because of the money and XYZ. And you're not quite sure how that's going to fit together. But when it comes to which one feels more accomplishable, it feels like moving out feels more accomplishable. Okay? If you have a goal that feels like, oh, I could do this easily, do that one. Because what will happen is you'll get one under your belt and then you can take that success and roll it into the next one. I don't know if that's exactly what's going on with this one, but that's what I'm kind of reading through, is that it may feel like if I do this one, I can't do that one. In my experience, it's best to do the one that you can, or the one that feels the most accomplishable, because then that energy of success bleeds into the next one. Hope that makes sense. Good question. FFF student, how can I manifest a lump sum of $20,000 without having to get an additional job? Lots of ways. Have any of you guys done it? I don't know. You get tax refund, you get rebates, someone writes you a check. You could win the lottery. You could come into an inheritance. There's so many different ways. This is an important thing, okay? A lot of times people feel like it has to come one way. Money is actually one of those. The reason why I'm bringing this up, money is actually one of those that can come either way, okay? In pretty much all of your experiences, you've had the experience of taking action to get money, i.e. getting a job, and you've also had the experience of money just falling out of the sky, money landing on the ground, someone giving it to you, okay? So if you have a situation like this where you just want the money, the idea is you want to start to focus on money can come from many different places and not be so hell-bent on it has to come this way, but celebrating the other kinds of ways that it comes, okay? The big thing is getting out of the idea that it has to come from the job. It can come both ways. Anybody who's watching this, I know you guys have both belief structures. If it really feels it has to come from the job, this is one we might want to switch, okay, in this situation. So hang with me because we're going to talk a little bit more about that one in just a moment. I Am Mine asks, I am working 10 to 12-hour days as a new real estate agent, no commission yet. It's been 6 months plus without income, and I'm being evicted. How do I turn this around? Can't move without income. Okay. You got to shift up the energy a little bit. Okay. So this can happen a lot in business and in sales. A lot of you guys, if you're trying to make money or sales, etc., if it's not working out, or if you didn't make a sale the first week, then you start noticing, I didn't make a sale, it's not coming. And then you spiral into kind of this dry spell, and it starts to pick up momentum. Okay. So in situations like this, what you want to be doing is kind of switching things up. I would recommend, if we're talking about real estate commissions, I would really consider, what's a new way I could do this? Okay. Some new strategy, some new way of getting leads, or some new way of closing people. Come up with some stuff. Go do something new. Okay. Because if we keep doing it the way we've been doing it, we already kind of have this expectation that the way I've been selling isn't working. The way I've been selling isn't working. So try something wild and crazy, just to shift up the energy a little bit. Okay. The other big thing that's important, and I talk about this a lot, guys, is when you start having these spirals where less, you're focusing on I don't have and that there is lack. So what you want to start to do immediately, right now, so I want you to start thinking about what you have, the money that you have, the resources that you have, all of the things that you have going for you, your health, your abundance, your friendships, your relationships, everything that you have, okay? The more you focus on that, the more you have. So I really recommend that as an exercise for anyone who's feeling a lot of lack. Stop what you're doing, take some time and think about what you have. When you're in a better mood, which won't take much time doing this, you're going to notice that all of a sudden reality shifts a little bit and things get a little bit better. Okay, maybe the sky gets a little brighter. Someone says something nice to you. That's an indication that what you're doing is working. Keep going. Now, I just got that smile, just get that sunshine, and noticing I have, things will get better. Things will get better. And then you're going to start to see things work out even within your business. Okay? That's the big thing. Good question. Britt, thank you for the super. Britt says, thank you. I did my feng shui like you recommended, and I've been getting surprise checks. Ooh, did you do the mirror? Did I work with a practitioner when I did feng shui? No. I'm one of those people that just loves to learn things. So I read all the books and all that kind of stuff. It would probably be more efficient to work with a practitioner. And if any of you guys know a really good one, let me know. But yeah, I love learning about it. But feng shui is very, very complicated. So if you don't like learning, yeah, get a professional. It's very, very complicated. Thank you, Britt. All right, guys. Again, today we're talking about you can manifest without action. Okay, it's always your choice. You're the one who writes the rules. You decide, is this a rule of the video game that requires the character to do something? Or is this something where it just drops out of the sky? All of a sudden they get those coins for nothing. Okay, you get to decide those rules. You already put those rules into place. Sometimes it's best to keep the rules in place. So if you like the game that you're playing, why would you get rid of it? Okay, if you like going to the gym to build your muscles, why would you eliminate that rule of action? That would be silly. Okay, but if you don't like the rules, maybe there's a different way we can go. Okay, so you can always choose to eliminate action if you feel that it's not good for you. All right, so sometimes it actually is a good idea to get rid of the idea of action if you don't like the game you're playing. Okay. And I got to say this because a lot of people are doing a lot of work and taking a lot of effort trying to get things they really don't need to be doing. Okay. So for instance, like I mentioned before, money can actually go either way for most people. But a lot of people have a very strong belief structure that money comes through work or money comes through effort. I have to work hard for money. And this, by the way, is why many people end up in careers where they have to work very hard. And because they have this structure that's set up, that becomes reinforced in their reality. Their reality starts to require them to work harder and harder and harder. And they're not getting as much out of it. So if you have a situation like that, it would make sense. Why don't we switch the rule? So I had a question earlier about how to get $20,000 without a job. Well, if in a situation like this, we want to switch over to a new belief structure. Okay? So if you're having an experience where it feels like you have to take action, but you don't like the game, you got to ask yourself, why do I believe that this is the case? And what would be the opposite? Okay, so if the belief structure is I have to work hard for money, the opposite belief structure is money comes easily. Money comes effortlessly. You may have heard that as an affirmation before. Now, people who believe that can get a lot more money to show up for no work at all. But you have to believe that, and it actually has to become more dominant. Does that make sense? So the big thing is you have to ask yourself, do you like the game you're playing? If you don't like the game you're playing, it's a game you can get rid of. Literally. There's nothing that you have to be doing. So you always want to be qualifying your reality by what is it that I feel like doing? Okay? And not being engaging with games you don't like playing. That's probably the biggest lesson here of all. If you're playing games in your reality you don't like playing, you are reinforcing rules of action you don't want to take. You're doing things that you don't technically need to do to get results. You don't need to do that. So one of the easiest things to do is to just stop playing the game. Okay? I hope that makes sense. We talk a lot about doing, staying in the flow. Doing what you want to do when you want to do it. That's really important, but it's advice a lot of people choose not to take. Instead, they keep doing things that they don't want to do, and they reinforce rules in their reality that they need to take action where they don't need to actually be taking action. Does that make sense? So that's the big thing you need to understand. Don't play games you don't want to play. And you will free up in your reality the ability to receive things that you want easily and only be playing the games you want to be playing. That's how you ensure that your reality is always constructed in that video game where you're having fun. You're not doing stuff that's nonsensical in your reality. Hope that makes sense. Best Self Blueprint. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. Just getting started. Best times are ahead. And you're 48. Exactly. Okay? Exactly. Okay? So I'm a woman in my 40s. It's important that we understand that this is the point. You're just getting started. You're just getting started. So many people have this perspective that when a birthday hits, it's all over. My best years are behind me. No. That's creating rules in our reality we don't like. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting warmed up. This is going to be the best time of my life I'm headed towards right now. Happy birthday. Miranda, I need to rewrite the rule about my weight. I should be out of nowhere to lose extra weight, but I do like working out. Okay, so there can be multiple rules. It's not like you have to do the work. You have to get rid of the working out to lose the weight necessarily. Okay. What I would be looking at in a case like this is, what do I believe about myself that does the weight has to stay on, or that I have to be doing the working out? Okay, so you can do the working out for the sake of having fun, but we want to kind of free up the idea. What I would be saying if I was in this situation is that weight loss can happen easily. Sometimes weight loss happens out of nowhere. Sometimes it's easy to lose weight. Sometimes, and the more you play that game, the more you will have that experience. So that's actually something I played with myself. So I like going to the gym and I like working out, okay? Sometimes I don't feel like, doing the weight loss thing the weight loss way. I just want it to come off. So like particularly if I go on vacations or if I have like holidays, something like that, I'll start telling myself like, well, maybe this is going to be one of those times where I eat a lot and I still lose weight. Or I ate extra and my metabolism suddenly went up and I dropped weight. I tell myself stuff like that at those times. And it's funny, the more you tell yourself those things, the more you reinforce that into your reality, where now weight is easy for you to lose. Some people automatically do this. So a lot of people out there who are naturally thin, the reason why they're naturally thin is because they've been telling themselves, oh, it's hard for me to put on weight. I've always been skinny. I can eat whatever I want. And so those are the rules that they're writing into their reality. If you're struggling with your weight, there's a good chance that you've written a different rule in about your weight. It's always been hard to come off. I've always been heavier than I wanted to be, or something of that nature. And that's a rule that you've kind of written on yourself. And so now that's become a rule you got to fight against in your reality. And so when this happens and you're having to do all this work to lose weight, that's an example of wanting to rewrite one of the rules. Make it easier. Take the action out of the equation. Hope that makes sense. Oh, Patty with the confirmation here. Patty manifested unexpected 10,000 two times, so that equals 20,000. And that counts, Patty. Yes. Unexpected 10,000 two times is a 20,000. Absolutely. It happens. Happens more than you would think. When did it just happen to me? I feel like it just happened. Man, it'll come to me. Something's on the tip of my mind or something that just recently happened to me. If I remember it all, I'll talk about it. Fear, how to shift your paradigm, like feeling a failure. Do you mean like not feeling like a failure? You can always shift the reality or the paradigm into success or into failure. It's always a decision. It's a decision that we make in real time. I love this, by the way, because your reality will shift so quickly depending on how you choose to focus. If you guys are feeling like you're failures in a moment, just recognizing that that's how you feel is the important first step. Is right now I'm feeling this way and I'm creating this in my reality. So all I really need to do right now is stop, take a deep breath, and think about all the ways that I'm winning. It's that simple. All the ways that I'm winning, all the things that I have won, all the successes that I have had. And now, instead of focusing into the failure realm and making that become more normalized in your reality, you start to focus into the success realm. And now your reality starts to reorganize and be more of a success. It's that simple. The thing is that it's once you start thinking in a direction, the law of attraction makes it easier for you to think in that direction. So it does take a degree of discipline to train yourself to do this. But if you do train yourself to do this, you build on that momentum. That every time I start to feel like a failure, I redirect to success. And that starts to build momentum too. Okay, hope that makes sense. Bradford. How do you make sure that when you do the action, it would yield the result? For example, playing the game equals winning, going to the gym equals muscles/body. Okay, so the way that you do that is by, do I enjoy the game? That's the big thing. Okay, so when we're deciding if we're going to choose action to get a result, the question is, do I enjoy the game? If you enjoy the game of going to the gym for the purpose of building up your body, if you enjoy that, you're going to have success. If instead you have the opposing belief structure, this is hard work and this is a grind and I don't really want to go and I got to psych myself up, but when it's done, I'm kind of glad I did it, but it's hard for me to go every day. If that's the way you feel about it, then we would want to write a different rule or we would want to play a different game. So maybe the gym game in that particular situation isn't a game you enjoy. Is there a different game you would enjoy? If you want that fitness journey experience, maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's swimming. Is there something else that actually feels like fun? The one that you want to be doing is the one that you will get results with. If it feels like a slog, it's not going to work. This is another thing. I get a lot of questions about business. People have issues with business. They turn business into a chore. So they start off with this idea, I want this business and I want it to yield fruit for me, but I feel like I have to work so hard and this is so much stress, and that's not going to yield results. Okay? So you want to be asking yourself that and giving yourself permission to engage with the games that you enjoy, because those are the ones that are inspired action that are going to yield wins for you. Excellent question. Oh, Marie Diamond. I've heard of Marie Diamond. Thanks, Adrienne. Marie Diamond is a well-known Feng Shui practitioner, and I believe she was on The Secret too. Yeah. Thanks for shouting her out. Catch up here. Jen Garcia 344 on Instagram asks, how do I move past fear, especially of hurting others? You know what I found is most helpful for fear? Instead of trying to move away from it, try to face it. And the reason why is fear is something that kind of chases you, okay? And the more you try to run away from it, the more it kind of chases you. And so when I'm fearful of something, what I'm saying is, I don't want to confront this. I don't want to deal with this. So I'm running away from it. So the way that you actually shift fear is actually by turning and facing it. Because in that case, what you're saying energetically is, I'm facing this. I'm not running from this. Therefore, I'm more empowered, or I have a sense of courage, or I think I can handle this. So if I was going to put this into a context that makes sense, if you think of like a bully, okay, if you have like a school bully, and maybe as a child you were afraid of the bully, the more you're afraid of the bully, the more the bully is going to terrorize you, okay? Because fear will always chase you. But the kid that turns around and sticks up for themselves or calls out the bully, that's the kid that's going to get a positive result, okay? So in anything that you're afraid of, okay, not everything, but if it's a chronic issue in your reality, it's best just to confront it, okay? I don't know what you mean by hurting others. With your opinion? If it's with your opinion, you would be surprised. Being more honest and direct, the people around you are probably going to respect it more. The more you kind of tiptoe around them, the more sensitive they're going to get. Because again, reality is constructed off what I'm putting out. If I'm concerned that what I'm going to say is going to hurt your feelings, you're going to be hurt by every little thing that I say. Okay? But if I just let it fly, people will deal with that. They desensitize to that because reality reorganizes to, okay, she's not pushing against that anymore. Okay? So the whole trying to tap dance around hurting other people or fear only creates more of the problem. Hope that's helpful. Sarah, how do I get back into a high vibration when I'm so sad? My German Shepherd died and I can't stop feeling sad. How do I snap out of it? Please help. Okay, so the first thing is allow yourself grief. Okay? That's the first thing, because the more we push against the grief, the more we keep it active. And this is something a lot of my spiritual friends here have a hard time with, because we all hear how important it is to have a high vibration. So if at any time you fall into a low vibration, you start to feel like you're doing things wrong, or you should be doing things differently. And so you start to resist your feelings. You resist your feelings of anger or sadness or grief, and what you resist persists. So instead, what you want to do in a situation like this is, it's okay for me to grieve as long as I need and want to. Okay? It's okay for me to grieve for as long as I want to. What that does is it validates that the way that I'm feeling is okay. Now I'm not resisting it anymore. And now when you don't resist, you become detached. When you become detached, you step into alignment with your preferences. Your preference is to feel better. Okay, so this is why it's best to just allow yourself the time to grieve and validate that it's okay that I feel this way. That will make you feel better in the short term, make it okay to cry in the short term, and make it easier for you to move past that event. And I'm sorry for your loss, Sarah. Thank you for your question. Louise, thank you for the super. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Jean, hi, Andrea. I feel self-conscious posting reels and posts on social media for my coaching offers in biz. Should I quit doing that and just do collaborative workshops to get things going? Which game do you want to play? I'll ask you this. Would you prefer to be doing collective workshops? Does that feel like more fun? If it feels like more fun, then yeah, that'd be a good direction. If you would like to post the reels and posts, okay, you want to play that game sounds like fun, but you're fearful, if that's just do it, okay? I hope that makes sense. I was just talking about fear, okay? If you don't like the reels and posts, if you think it's stupid, if you hate the way they come, if there's nothing about it that's redeeming and it's a game you don't want to play, don't play it. But if it's a game you do want to play, you're just fearful about it, do it. Okay? That's important because you want to be in that mind. I could do whatever I want. Try this, try this, try this, especially with business. Business requires you to just kind of put things out there and be okay with putting things out there. So if it's a game you want to play, I'd say just go ahead and do it. Look at it as sales training or sales practice. I'm just putting myself out there, get used to it, and it will become less fearful. But again, if you don't like it, don't do it. That's the real thing. You want to qualify. What game do I want to be playing? If it's a game you want to play, but you're fearful, play it anyway. Okay? Oh, 728 Huey. How can I manifest lots of money an easy way and not be distracted by influencers like Gary Vee who insist on hustling 24/7? Stop watching Gary Vee. I used to watch Gary Vee. I think he's funny. He's entertaining. But yeah, I mean, stop trying to do it the hard way. Okay? Seriously, stop trying. Look at Gary Vee, okay? Gary Vee, and I haven't seen his stuff in a while, but I remember back in the day when I used to watch it. Sure, was he running around like a crazy person? Yes. But watch him. Does he not look like he's having the time of his life? Like he looks like he's just excited to be moving at that speed, okay? So for him, that's in the flow. Good for him. That works. Some people like that high speed, okay? If someone's having results at high speed, they like that. They like that. If that's not your speed, that's okay. You don't need to be going 200 miles an hour to get results. I promise you, I don't go at that speed at all. At all. And I make plenty of money doing a lot less. So you have to kind of decide what speed you want and give yourself permission to go at your own speed. That's one of the big things. Stop looking at all these other people and what they're doing and assuming that because that they're working harder, that somehow that's the magic. That's not the magic. The magic is are they plugged in or not? Okay? As long as you're plugged in, you're going to do good. Okay, so work at the games that you like working at, have fun doing it the way you want to do it, and you will be successful at it. Another validation here. Our family adventure says, when I went to Italy, I lost weight and I was eating tons of pizza, gelato, wine, and have not exercised for 3 months straight. I believe the more fun you have, the more weight I lose. Ha ha. Okay, so I'm not the only one who does this. Okay, so the people that were, you're thinking about the weight loss and weight coming off easy, this does happen. So if you have a belief structure that if I go on vacation, I always lose weight, I'm having so much fun, the weight just comes up, you'll have that experience because that's the rule that you're writing onto vacations. I'm glad someone else is doing that. That's a good one. Well, this is a good idea. Impactful Gem says, I have a what have I done right journal. That helps me when I start to feel down. I read that and write in it when I do something right. I like that. If you guys, that's a good idea. And maybe even put one in your phone, like in a notepad, all your little accomplishments, the things that you've done right. So if you guys find yourself in a place where you're feeling like a failure, just open that up and read it. Read it and remember, and it'll pick you right back up. Great strategy. Another confirmation here. Lauren, I've lost exactly 125 pounds as of now. Congrats, Lauren. Major of this has been continuing to identify with already being thin and telling myself I've always been thin. Before this, I tried to lose weight for 24 years. Yeah, the way you talk about it to yourself dictates how it's going to work out. It's easy for the old programming to override, but just keep telling yourself, this can be easy. This could come off easy. Because the more you say that, the more reality starts to shift and it really starts to pick up momentum. 125 pounds is remarkable. Good job, Lauren. Oh, you wrote it down? Louise, what was it? Louise, on the last live, Elizabeth Van Cleve had her super chat sent once the live ended. I wanted to forward it back to you today, so you wrote it down. Did you write it in the comments yet? Louis, if you hear this, write this down and I'll answer it. Yeah, I saw that after it ended. I'm like, well, oh well, missed that one, but I was already off the call. I'm waiting for Louis, Louise, not Louis. Louise, I'm trying. While I'm waiting on that, another reminder, if you have not yet, make sure to go check out the new program. Again, it's on sale this week only for 50% off, brand new program, only on sale for 1 week, and then it won't be on sale for at least 1 more year. This program is all about manifesting a passionate and fulfilling and prosperous career. I've been getting so many questions from you guys about careers, issues at work, not being able to find jobs or being stuck with coworkers that you don't like, bosses that you don't like, working more than you want to work, feeling overburdened, not making enough money, not liking what you do. And so I wanted to create this course to address all these issues because it's perfectly possible for any of you to have the kind of career where you make the kind of money that you make, work the way that you want to work, and do something that you really enjoy doing. It does require you to shift the way that you think and behave. So in this course, I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So the name of this course is The Golden Path. Again, if you want it for 50% off, use the code GOLD at checkout. That's GOLD. Again, that code will only be live for 1 week only. So make sure to check it out. It just went live today. Lots of people already signed up. So if you're one of them, thank you so much. Let's see. Nope, not seeing from Louise. Poor Elizabeth, we missed it again. I'll take a different question. Let's see. Acoustic, pop, and lo-fi. Sometimes I don't feel worthy of what I want to manifest. How can I create a deep inner conviction of worthiness? Affirmations haven't been enough to change it. What are other ways to change it? You know what is screaming out to me is that whole fear thing. Because I noticed that when I started doing that whole face your fear thing, speak your truth, stand up for yourself, that kind of stuff, the more you practice that, you're going to start feeling real worthy. Okay? I don't know why I feel called to say that. Somebody on this call must need to hear that. If there's something you want to say to somebody, if someone's in your face, say it. Just start practicing that, okay? Facing the fears. You can start with small ones, but that right there has been one of the things that I think has built up my personal sense of worthiness more than anything else, more than affirmations. Get in the habit of facing fears. I don't mean you guys need to go skydiving today, okay? You don't need to pick up a boa constrictor today. I don't mean those kind of fears. I mean the day-to-day things where you're afraid to stand up or you're afraid to do what you want to do. Just start doing them. And the thing about it is with the facing of the fears, the faster you can do it, the better. Okay? So the quickest that you can pull the trigger, what was those social media posts we were talking about earlier? Just put one up. Just put one up. Quick as possible. The faster you do it, the less that fear time starts to build up. Okay, because when we fear things, we take our time and we procrastinate with them, and then the fear gets bigger, bigger, bigger. But if you just get in the habit of immediately checking those things in your reality, you'll start to see how powerful you are, and you'll start to feel very worthy. Good question. Carlos. Oh, okay. Carlos says, how to deal with toxicity from a hostile work environment, like losing your job for no reason, or the toxicity from family members, especially the nosy, gossipy people with the bad vibes. I have an extended family member that I call Medusa. I get paralyzed when I feel her energy. Yeah, the fear one, for some reason, this come up a lot today. That's the big one, okay? The paralyzed. I can't say anything. I can't do anything. You want to start having that habit of just speaking up, okay? When people start to beat up on you in your environment, it's because we're trying to run away from it. Please don't beat me up. Please don't make fun of me. Please don't bother me. And so they come at you more and more and more. You want to have more of the attitude. It helps to have the attitude of, okay, what's she going to say today, Medusa? Like when you're walking in before you see her, like, okay, have your rebuttal ready so that when you walk in, you're thinking, all right, Medusa, I'm ready for you. As soon as she says something, this is what I'm going to say. Have it ready. When you walk into the environment ready to go, they won't even come for you. Does that make sense? Try it. It's magic. Super chat isn't working for you, Lewis. I'm sorry. All right. We do have another super here from Monica. Monica, thank you for the super. How do I shift my thinking when 0%, was it 10% or 0%? Whatever, it's not that many. Of the men I plan dates with stand me up or cancel and never reschedule. I'm ready for a relationship. Have something else ready. Have something else ready. I wouldn't put so much investment into the dates. I would always have kind of a plan B ready to go. I would have some standards in place too. So like in a situation, if this is going on for a while, I'd start setting up some rules of engagement. So like if you know you have a date going on with somebody, if he doesn't text me by 10 a.m. that day or by noon that day to follow up, then I'm not going and I'm going to make other plans. Okay? So instead of waiting until 7 o'clock, is he going to pick me up? Is he going to call? I already know. If he hasn't checked in by noon that day, we're not going and me and my girlfriend are going dancing. So it's just like that thing with the fear. Okay? I'm ready for you to stand. You ready to go? Go ahead and stand me up. I got other things to do. If he doesn't call me by noon, I'm not going anyway. Boom. Okay? Now you're not waiting. Does that make sense? And you got another plan ready to go. Don't sit there and wait till the end. Don't do it. Okay? Because that's just waiting for him not to show up. I hope that makes sense. And then the nice thing about that is too, is that it's a way of kind of demonstrating to the universe, I have standards. This is what I expect. That's important. Okay. All right, guys. Again, if you haven't yet, please make sure to take the manifesting test. If you are new to me here, it's at manifestingtest.com. Okay. It's free, 5 minutes, put something out, watch it come back, prove to yourself that you are the creator of your own reality. Again, if you haven't checked out the course yet, make sure to do that. It's live, it's up, you can take a look at it. 50% off this week only for the Golden Path. And I do plan on being back I will be back next Thursday. I might be back on Sunday. I'm not quite sure, so you guys know how I am. I kind of work when I want to, but I may be here on Sunday. If I am, it's at the same time, which is 11:30 a.m. Eastern, my time, but about the same time wherever you are right now. And that's going to do it. So thanks so much, guys. Thanks for the supers. Thanks for all the questions. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.